They don't care if they are ready. No one checks for the foundation. Everybody wants to do AI. Check your prompt before you go. A little error can cause a no-no. LLMs, large language models, they are so in right now. I want my own. And never gonna know it all, never gonna catch all up. There's more AI tools than I can count. Another job bites the dust. Another job bites the dust, and another job gone, and another job gone, another job bites the dust. Hey, AI is gonna get yours too, another job bites the dust. GPT is like my lover, she knows my secrets more than anyone else, and always learns from them. What a feeling, so productive. With AI tools, I will have such an easy life. How will I know if this can be trusted? The only way is to fact check everything. What's law got to do with it? AI regulations are coming. Don't stop investing. Can't afford stagnating. We have to make AI work. Don't stop investing. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this 80s parody medley about AI. I feel like often in AI, we forget that we made certain mistakes in the past already, right? So I think a little bit of nostalgia towards the past and then remembering it to do the right thing in the current state where we currently are is the right thing to do. And in this talk today, I want to talk a little bit about what actually takes us from just being excited about AI and all of the possibilities into what actually makes value with AI and how to have the right success criteria in place to actually scale AI value. Quick introduction about myself. I'm currently working as a director for data and AI strategy at ThoughtWorks. I turned my passion for the human side of data into writing 2 books, which are Humanizing Data Strategy and Humanizing AI Strategy. I'm also the VP of Dharma Germany, which is the German chapter of Dharma International, a nonprofit organization for data management professionals. And I like to use music, as you've seen earlier today, but also just now, to make data topics and other topics more approachable and fun, such as writing rap songs about digital analytics or data governance. But if we look at now the space of AI, right? AI really is in this inflection point where on the one hand side, we see everyone investing in it, right? We know that everyone is putting more money in it, everyone is using it AI more, but at the same time on organizational level, we see a lot of things not really working, right? Like for example, of 87% of AI projects not making it into production, 81% of workers still not using AI tools, or 4% of companies only really creating substantial value with AI. And even from other research, we know that an improper AI strategy can cost companies up to 30% of shareholder value. So how do we actually balance it? And what is the reason that we are now at this point in time facing all of this? And my theory is that adopting AI in an organization can often feel like not seeing the forest for the trees, right? We get carried away by our excitement for the technology, but don't focus enough on the bigger picture to see what actually it takes to make it work. And this is why I want to introduce you to the Forest framework, right? So succeeding in AI efforts actually means we need to get people, process, and technology right. And Forest, as an acronym, is more of a memory vehicle to actually understand what it takes to be successfully scaling AI. So Forest stands for foundational architecture, operating model, readiness of data, experience for human and AI, strategic alignment, and trustworthy AI. So let's jump a little bit deeper into what that actually means. From a foundational architecture point of view, we are really, at this point, learning from what didn't go so well in data, right? And what actually created a lot of barriers was the whole split between the analytical side of data and the operational side of data, right? So this is something we do for analytics, and this is something we need for the day-to-day operations in the company. But with AI now being more mature and being able to do certain things, we cannot afford to have these sides separate anymore, right? While for data it was all about decision making, AI now takes it to the next level, and it doesn't only help with decisions, it actually takes actions, making it actually operational, right? So it makes the analytical side operational, meaning we have to bring it together. So we look into the overall architecture that we have, this is where it needs to happen, right? From the data side, being from data products and having knowledge graphs on top, and being then basically feeding into foundational models and other AI models. We need to have a business capabilities platform as well that is modular, that is also scalable, and that can really help from a modernist point of view to bring it all together. And this is how it then can bring to an AI-enhanced business process and value stream thinking to then have the right human and AI experience actually working. Across it all, it would be good to learn from what already works in the data space, right? So self-service, for example, is something that we can think of immediately to actually have a business-led transformation, meaning the AI platform that we work on can come with self-service capabilities. We should also think about MLOps and LLMOps specifically to actually optimize lead time to production to make sure not things get actually stuck. And finally, those agentic systems that work on top enable autonomous decision making, but also actions down the line to actually not only help to decide, but take these actions that we wanted to do. From an operating point of view, it's really about interfunctional and cross-functional collaboration, right? And in this, it's really about three things. On the one hand side, it's about business-driven collaboration, right? The idea is that the use cases that we run AI in should actually be driven by what the business needs to get solved from a problem point of view, right? How does the business process currently work? What are the problems that are blocking that business process or are creating issues there? Is AI the right solution actually to make that business process better? And only the experts that work in the business functions actually know that, right? No one in tech or in data or AI engineering is close enough compared to the business expert to actually know what is actually the problem that needs to be solved. And by shifting that ownership, basically, to the business, we can ensure that it's driven by impact, and the ROI that we want to measure afterwards actually is driven by already what we know the business needs. From a role point of view, we need team topologies to be in place, right? Team topologies has been actually proven to be a really the right way to minimize the cognitive load of people, right? For people to not be overloaded by multiple responsibilities and having to communicate too much, to basically have that thinking, to have end-to-end ownership of the deliverables. And finally, we need to have the right ways of working, right? Meaning that cross-functional teams are able to define clearly and enable efficient deployments with low dependencies on other teams. And by basically removing all of those friction points, and we get business to drive cross-functional collaboration, having the people having the right responsibilities, we can actually smoothly scale AI into more value. And now let's talk about readiness of data, right? I think there's so many things about readiness of data nowadays in the world. Also specifically Gartner, I think, has recently communicated a lot about it. But in my world, I think we can boil it down really into three things. Right? It's about expanded data quality management, first of all, right? Because if we're honest to ourselves, data quality, I mean, there's a lot of excuse to say data quality is too bad to do AI, right? But if data quality was so bad, then businesses would not be running today, right? It worked in the environment that it needed to be in. What changed is really the expectations and the requirements towards the data that are now more strict and more needed. So saying that basically data quality is too bad, is really more of a shifting the framing of it all. And it's more about clarifying those new requirements that AI actually needs to actually then have a realistic point of view what expanded data quality management even means. I know there's a lot about, for example, contextual data, and that means a lot of unstructured data. So for many people that work in data quality, now having to actually define what good data quality for unstructured data even means is really a big deal, and that's something that needs to be worked on, and all of these processes need to be put in place, but that's something that comes with the expansion of how we define and how we work in data quality management. Now, with data as a product, that's something that I think we should keep because we are also treating AI applications as products now. So it might as well needs the whole product thinking also on data space that is proven, which means that if we need AI to basically train and be fed by different data assets, we should do it in a product way, right? Meaning it's discoverable, reusable, and optimized for AI-driven applications. And across it all, we go back again to metadata and especially the contextual layer of it all, meaning a federated knowledge graph, right? To basically have the knowledge graphs to structure and connect data and enabling AI systems to reason and improve decision-making through contextual understanding. And then we move on to experience, right? The experience across human and AI. And again, if we think about what already happened in the past, we can learn from existing disciplines that already put interactions in its focus, right? There's design thinking, which focuses on how do we actually design for different needs and interaction modes for both in human and AI. There's already product thinking again, right? So how do we actually incorporate user needs and feedback into our AI solutions? And there's also value thinking, or I would also call it process thinking, right? So how do we actually optimize along the entire value chain with AI? And if we focus on these questions, right, whenever we start creating these AI use cases and whenever we want to see how it works, let's incorporate also the experience into it all, because that is the layer that actually finally is the one that's facing a lot of the users and the customers that are dealing with these applications. Right? And equally as much as we are now excited about the back end and about everything that's possible in infrastructure, we need to also think about what could happen actually on the interface layer when this is actually used by end customers and by different other users that are dealing with that application. And then we need also strategic alignment, right? I mean, that sounds always easier than it actually is, I would say, but it's really connecting what we try to do in AI with what the business actually cares about. Right? And that can happen through driver trees, right? For example, this one is a lean value tree, we call it, which is a vision, right? The company vision overall, or domain vision that is broken down to goals and then into bets, also called hypothesis, to then see how we can actually play into the goals and the vision that our organization has. And from there, we can then use an ROI-based prioritization, right? To see, based on business cases that we have, based on the different feasibilities and the different ROIs that we have, how we can prioritize rolling out and creating one AI use case after another. And all that in parallel needs the right planning and governance as well, right? Meaning you have a periodic review of business outcomes, and you also decide when to continue, but also when to stop these kind of exercises to move forward. And all of that is empowered by an AI-literate workforce, right? And that's something that I think a lot of companies are misunderstanding, that AI-literate workforce doesn't mean you just put everyone in one training. It actually means that every single one has a tailored AI expertise towards what they need in their day-to-day job and the decisions that they make. So we cannot use like a one-size-fits-all approach to just teach literacy to everyone, right? We need to understand how actually AI impacts the tasks of different people and of different job descriptions in the future. And that means also culturally, we need to have an adaptive learning culture, we need to have autonomous teams, and we need cross-functional and collaborative decision-making. And lastly, it's about trustworthiness, right? And to actually be trustworthy, we need governance, specifically AI governance. But instead of telling you another kind of org chart or another process of how governance works, I want to just remind everyone what the drivers for governance nowadays actually is, because it's much bigger than we usually think about, right? And there's a lot of human aspects that we actually need to consider of what it is. So for example, when it comes to intellectual property governance, which is driven by the respect for knowledge, we need to consider copyright risks, right? For example, with intellectual property, should we actually use it, and can we just train AI models with it as we want to? Same as with information security. When it comes to social responsibility governance, it's driven by AI for good, right? So we need to consider ethics, justice, and data privacy, but also eco-sustainability, because as we know, AI can be really expensive when it comes to the energy that it needs to do, and not everything needs AI to actually do it this way. When it comes to technology and operations governance, it's really about efficient scaling, right? So we need to manage the costs, but also we need to manage technology and have technology governance, as we had defined before. And when it comes to people and process governance, it's driven by effective operations, right? So we need the right skill set and AI literacy, and we need to, of course, define standards and regulations for everyone to stick to. And when we think about what drives in our organizations actually AI governance, it's not always all the same equal, right? It's more about what currently is the right space for you to have these drivers. And not only is that something that needs to be considered, it can also become a driver to start AI governance to get prioritized and to finally implement AI governance, moving away from just a theoretical concept into actually taking actions. And when we do that, then we finally actually move from just being excited to actually driving AI through purpose, right? And purpose, for me, is actually a very nice Venn diagram that brings 4 elements together. First, what is exciting to do with AI, right? So that's about, for example, product innovation or UX optimization. To then align that with what my business strategy needs from AI, right? So new business models, product portfolio diversification, whatever is right now currently the goal. Align then with what you are allowed to do with AI, right? That is then following regulations, but also ethical considerations of it all and other regulations. And then what we technically can do with AI, and that could be, for example, the infrastructure that we need, the tool stack that we have, or also the engineering skill set that we actually need to do it all together. Right. And all of that, actually, I have co-written a white paper on this, where we go into more into detail of that, so you can check that one out. We have also turned this into a self-assessment tool to actually check, based on different statements, how your organization is doing it, and it is currently performing in this kind of environment. And yeah, I'm happy also to, of course, to discuss it more in detail afterwards as well. So, a few closing words. Scaling AI requires a thinking big, but starting small mentality, right? And that means also that we keep the whole forest in mind, and we use all of these dimensions to consider what it takes actually to implement AI use cases. Excitement for the technology needs to be balanced with value creation and responsibility. And finally, AI needs to support humanity and not replace them. The future of AI lies in all of our human hands, and good luck to all of you. Before we go into Q&A, I want to end with some music, but this time a music video. So basically, something completely different, but seeing of how many people use AI chatbots in their day-to-day already, I basically thought about how the love and dating life infused with AI could look like in the future. And maybe it gives you a little bit of a provocative thinking of what that actually could look like, and if we're actually going too far, or not far enough maybe, in the future. So please enjoy You and I and AI. I think you have to click on it. Can someone click on it? Oh, perfect. Thanks.
Sitting in the restaurant, my hands are getting sweaty. Forgot how to small talk, my mind's like mom's spaghetti. So I slip in one earbud, pretend to check the time, while AI whispers poetry that I can claim as mine. Ask which movies she likes, the bot suggests with care. Now I am a film expert with insights everywhere. She thinks I'm so engaging, laughs at my witty quips. Thank God for AI autocomplete feeding me these scripts. Life is so much better with algorithmic love. No more awkward pauses. We're compatible because the data says we're perfect. The metrics, they don't lie. Everything's amazing with you and I and AI. You and I and AI. Meeting with her parents, I walk in way too bold. Nice to meet you, sir. Your wife looks really old. Panic mode activated. Excuse myself real quick. To the bathroom with my phone out, gonna search something slick. Turns out Dad loves model trains and mom's into orchid care. Now I'm an expert on rare species anywhere. They think I'm so delightful, he's a keeper mother size. While I am reading such results through my side eye. Life is so much better with algorithmic love. No more awkward pauses. We're compatible because the data says we're perfect. The metrics, they don't lie. Everything's amazing with you and I and AI. You and I and AI. Standing at the altar, my vows are quite sublime. My AI helper wrote them, even made them rhyme. The wedding planner's AI, the flowers picked by code. Our first dance was choreographed in viral video mode. But when I say I do, she stops and starts to cry. I have a confession, I've been living a lie. Every text, every joke, every sweet thing I say has been generated by my trusted AI all the way. I laugh and pull her closer. Darling, please don't feel so blue. Every single thing I've said was artificial too. We kiss beneath the LED screen, our match made in AI heaven. Two souls united by the code, our love score 10 out of 7. Life is so much better with algorithmic love. No more awkward pauses. We're compatible because the data says we're perfect. The metrics, they don't lie. Everything's amazing with you and I and AI. You and I and AI.
All right.